Hola, welcome to Slowpoke Travel. I'm Buck, and Camera Girl is not here at the moment, but she is coming up in the next video segment because this is going to be a couple of little videos that I'm going to put together, basically of us applying for a house sit. This is step by step the little process that we go through when we find a house sit online that we want to apply for. These are the steps that we take in that application process. So hopefully you will find this information helpful if you're interested in house sitting. I'll also have a link down below over to our house sitting section over on slowpoketravel.com. So if you want some more detailed house sitting information, you'll find those links down there. Also to Patreon and PayPal if you want to support us down there. Or you can just thumbs us up and share the video and all that jazz. And if I turn this into a podcast, you can subscribe to our podcast over at slowpoketravel.com. Or we're at Slowpoke Travel Podcast, Slowpoke Travel, any which way you want to do it. But if you're a podcast person, I'll have a link down there for that too. Although I don't know if the audio for this is going to be podcast worthy, but we'll see. But if the audio sucks, then I apologize. But hopefully the information will be a-okay. So this is the beginning of a very impromptu video. And this is going to be about us applying for a house sit, because that's what's happening right now. Camera Girl is on her computer and she started the application process because this is how it happens. It happens this fast. As you can still see, I've got my breakfast hair because we were over the breakfast table talking about it. Camera Girl threw her hat on. Still got the listing up here on my computer because every day, almost every day, we will get notifications on the app on our phone. We use Trusted House Sitters. Whatever house sitting application or website you use, when you see a house sit that you're interested in, a lot of times timing is key. You want to get your foot in the door first if you're interested in it, because ideally the folks who are looking for a house sitter kind of have their ducks in a row and they're making their plans. So they want to do it in a timely fashion, hopefully. So we have to get in there in a timely fashion, which we are not doing on this one. We're a little late to the party on this one.
But this is you, Ben. We're fine.
Well, we'll see. Now, we saw this listing came up probably about 3 hours ago, and we talked about it.
But we were eating, so, priority.
This was before we were eating. This was even before you started breakfast.
I forgot about that. Breakfast just cleared my mind.
Because, ideally we would have seen this house sit and we would have applied right away and been the first people to apply. Because that counts. Because these people are going to get a lot of promising applicants and then they're not going to want to look at it anymore, or they're going to already make a decision pretty fast. Because there are a lot of people who house sit that have a lot of references that look good. I mean, just like us, we look pretty good on paper because we have a lot of house sitting experience. We have good reviews and blah, blah, blah. So, we kind of have an advantage that way over some folks. We have another advantage here because we're a little bit older and this looks like more of a retirement community. So I think that gives us an advantage.
But the reasons we were interested, because it makes a difference. When I go to apply, I'm interested in saying something specific, not just a cookie cutter note. Yeah. And we were interested in the Northeast because we have some different friends that we'd like to see. This would sort of give us a reason to be up there. If there's COVID, we can't really see them. Depending on where everybody's at, we could still have a great experience. It's fall colors.
Yeah, this house sit is pretty much for the entire month of October.
Yeah, so it's not really long compared to what we generally like.
We like multiple month house sits we prefer, but this is just 1 month. But the dates are really good because it is the entire month of October.
And so it wouldn't cut into, holiday.
Yes, so we would still have all of November and December open for potential house sits. And that's a big house sitting time because a lot of times people travel away for the holidays. So ideally you want to have Thanksgiving and Christmas open, so that you can potentially apply for some longer term house sits. Pretty much September is wide open. See, I'm going to check my phone because that might be another house sit.
Addictive Buck!
My phone makes those dinging noises and I want to see. And that's what it is. It says it's a match. So we do have another house sit that just came up here. So I'm going to take a look at this here while Camera Girl is applying for that house sit. So this is a multiple month house sit for January, February, and most of March. But it starts right after Christmas. I mean, literally December 26th. Right there, I'm not interested in this house sit because that means we're going to have to be traveling over Christmas to get to this house sit. So we can eliminate that one. But this one that we saw this morning, that's the month of October in the Northeast.
The Northeast on the coast, one negative is it's still hurricane season.
Yes, it is storm season. So that's a potential problem right there. But it's going to be the fall colors. One of the first things I did was look at the temperatures during October in this area. So it's mid 40s to mid 60s. So it's not freezing. It's going to be kind of nice. I went on Google Maps and I kind of toured around the city area. It looks very appealing. There's just one animal. It looks like an easy care animal. Right here at this house that we're at right now, we have dogs, chickens, there's a cat. So we have a lot of responsibility with the animals here, but we don't mind that. That's good because we want to be here. We're enjoying just being here in the mountains. We're enjoying this space. We're enjoying the seclusion. We kind of turn this into a little healthy retreat. We're really enjoying the animals. So this house sit has a lot of responsibility, but we're at the house sit all the time. It's perfect. Now this house that we're going to here is in an area that we're interested in exploring. The fall colors are going to be beautiful.
The one we're going to? That's hilarious. You already got it for us.
Well, I'm being optimistic, although really I'm not that optimistic. I'm making this video because I want to show the process. Obviously, I think we have a chance of getting it, or else we wouldn't be applying. But our chances are greatly diminished because this listing is more than 3 hours old and there's already applications. So
there's not that many applications, but the addict that Buck is, he's like, if we aren't the first one in, we're never going to get it.
I'm telling you, if you're the first one in the door and you look good,
yeah,
that is a heck of an advantage. We have booked a lot of house sits that we apply for versus how many we land. We have a very high success rate. But it's because we're usually pretty quick on the draw because I have a slight compulsion.
But it's also because we choose people that we get a tone from their listing that seems to match us.
We've looked at several so far that were very promising in some ways, but for whatever reason we didn't apply for them. So it's got to tick a lot of boxes. And this one does. So even though we've kind of been looking sort of intensively for the last month at potential house sits to apply for, this is the first one that we have actually applied for since this house sit. We have not applied for another one since this house sit. So this is the first house sit. This is only the second house that we've applied for this year. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, Camera Girl is applying right now. And I will read you our application. Kind of a sort of, I'm not going to read the specifics of the application. It will be a generic. The names will be changed to protect the innocent. But you'll basically get an idea of what we say in our application or how we apply. Each application that we do is personalized. You don't just want to have a very generic template application and fire that off instantaneously. You want to look at the listing. You want to look at the home, the location, the pets. You want to look at all that stuff and make sure that it's something that you really want to do, something that you can commit to and be happy about doing. And then when you apply for the house sit, you want to make sure and mention these things that you like about the house sit and why you would be a good fit for that house sit or pet sit, because then the folks that are reading your application will know that you have really looked at the information and that you truly are a good fit for the house sit. And then that, along with good timing, will help to give you a leg up in the application process.
And that assumes you can apply because your internet connection is working.
Oh, did it go kaput?
We're having a little bit of a challenge. There we go. There we go. When you click to say apply now, I couldn't get that to come up. I had to keep refreshing and redo it 3 times.
So you've written it out, so now you're going to paste it in and,
yes,
and do it. Yeah.
That is something I always do. I have it somewhere else, help me spell check, which of course can't catch everything, but...
Now I'm going to read it before you ship it off, right?
No.
I'm not going to read it first?
No.
Okay.
You don't always.
Would you like
always.
To? No, but sometimes it's good just to have a...
Okay, come here,
for an obvious thing. Well, here, just unplug it and give it to me.
Because sometimes it's hard for either one of us not to just tweak it.
Hello, so-and-so. Buck and I would like to look after insert pet name here and your home while you are away. Although the pics of your home and surrounding area look lovely, it was the 2 pics of insert pet name that inspired us to apply. And that is true, because that is key, because house sitting is pet sitting.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you are very interested in taking care of the pets, because that's your primary job. Taking care of the home is very important, but taking care of the pets, that's the ultimate penultimate.
But the other thing that's interesting about this application, these people have no reviews previously.
Yeah, this might be their first time.
And you can also tell they're a little more conservative in what they put in their listings, which you can definitely understand because people don't want to give too much. They don't know who's looking at it. But when they do that, then we don't have as much to respond to. So that's why this one is a little less engaging, because we don't have as much to hook onto.
Yeah. But they have great pictures, and it's in a great location.
Yeah, that's true.
And the pet looks right up our alley. So
yes,
there's a lot to like about this list. Buck and I are former homeowners. We work from home, so we will be able to give your pet and home lots of love and attention. When I say your pet, that's not what we have here. We have the name of the pet, because you want them to know that we know what pet it is, what the name is, that we're well aware of what our main responsibility is.
Yeah, again, we're not doing cookie cutter.
Yeah. The area looks like a great place from which we can easily take a walk, stretch our legs, knock out the mental cobwebs after our extended work on the computer. So we're letting them know that we work from home and that we will be at their home quite a little bit. We have our own car and would need a place to park it. Parking and a good internet connection are all we require to be at home. So with this line, we're letting them know that we have a car and that we need a place to park it, and that we require internet to do what we need to do. So this lets them know that if they don't have a good internet connection, they need to let us know.
Just so you know, you can say that, and we've gone places that people think they have a high-speed internet, and they don't.
Okay, we have house set and pet set for friends, family, and folks who met via the Trusted House Sitter site. Buck and I adhere to the adage, leave it better than you find it. You can find a bit more about us in our profile.
But we also have a video. This particular site doesn't allow you to put videos anymore, but we found a place to post it. So we just linked to that. So if people want to see us for just a nanosecond, they get something a little extra.
Yeah. So in addition to our written application, we have sort of a video application, but it's a very generic video just so that people can see us and hear us. And I think it makes us more accessible, or they can see, what they're dealing with right off the bat. And I think along with being there in a timely fashion and having a nice application and references and whatnot, I think that video really helps us.
Here's the challenge. In general, all you're looking at is to see, is there anything else you want to say that's really engaging for their particular site? Mm-hmm. Is there anything else?
Nope. So then it ends. If you think we'd be a good fit for your house and pet sit, we're available to phone, WhatsApp, Skype, blah, 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 and email. And then we'll give them our contact information. So that is basically our application in a nutshell. We let them know that we're interested in the area. We let them know that we're interested specifically in the pet. And we let them know what we require, which is basically a place to put our car and an internet connection. And then we give them our contact information, our little link to our video, and now we'll shoot it off. And then we'll see what happens. And hopefully we will know something today or tomorrow.
Ooh, yeah. If somebody waits a couple of weeks, Buck does not appreciate that.
Yeah.
Does not think that is helpful.
This application already has 4 to 7 applicants. And probably by the time we send ours off, and probably within the next hour or so, it'll probably say there's 10 or more applicants. And then hopefully at that point, they will shut this down. Because then they will have 10 perfectly reasonable applicants, probably, to look at and choose from. Yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like folks that put up a house sitting listing and then they leave it up there for weeks and weeks and they don't shut it down. So you'll go to look at some house sit listings and they'll have been up there for a month. They'll have 40 to 60 applicants. That's just wasting people's time.
But what's also nice is this particular house sitting place will tell you if it's new or not. Mm-hmm. So that would tell you if you didn't have somebody compulsively looking.
Yeah.
The other nice thing is if you refresh once you've sent a message, the site is set up, you can tell when somebody has read your application, which is also a nice psychological piece that all sites don't have.
So we will apply for this house sit, and then hopefully we will have an interaction with these people, and we will book the house sit. But even then, especially nowadays with the travel restrictions and whatnot and things changing, you really have to be super duper open-minded about the potential for things not working out. But we're going to see. Emma Girl has put the application together. Have you already sent it? Mm-hmm. She's already applied.
Oh, the other thing is that for the house owners, when you apply, they've already put in an email address, and an email is automatically sent to their email. They don't have to come back to the app to realize, oh, I have 2 new apps. They get new messages in their inbox, which again, if they're checking that particular email, is another convenience.
Okay, so we applied for the house sit 4 hours ago, and we've already got a response, and it's a positive response. Thanks so much for contacting me. You sound like you might be an excellent fit. I think that you would enjoy exploring the area, and I'm so glad you have your own car. I love where we live, but it's definitely not convenient for public transportation. We have a 2-car garage, otherwise there is ample parking in our driveway. I would love to be able to speak with you tomorrow if possible, preferably via FaceTime or Zoom. Nothing else, the phone works too. Let me know if there's a time tomorrow that works for you. And also, we have good internet. Regards, fill in name. So, we got a good positive first response saying that they would like to talk to us. We want to respond in as timely a fashion as possible because that makes us look good, because it looks like we're easy to get a hold of and that we're checking our stuff in a timely fashion. So Camera Girl says, wow, thanks for responding so soon. Yes, we are available to Zoom tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. So we're available all day, whatever time is convenient for them. Let us know when you would like to chat. In case Murphy's Law interferes, you can also reach us via our phone number or our email, which are both there. Looking forward to talking tomorrow. And then she responded right away. The lady that posted the house sit said, great, let's plan on doing a Zoom tomorrow at 7. If it turns out that time doesn't work, let me know. Otherwise, I will send you a link via email. Looking forward to meeting you both. And then Camera Girl says, tomorrow at 7 it is. Woohoo! And she wrote, woohoo! So that's where we're at now. So we're 4 hours into it. So we applied. Then 4 hours later, we had this exchange here over the course of like a half hour. And so we've set up a Zoom call for tomorrow at 7. So that's good. I mean, when we first got the message, I thought it was just going to read, thanks for applying, but I've already, because we were a little late to applying for this. I think it said 4 to 7 applicants when we had applied. And now if I go to the house sit, it's no longer listed. It says they no longer need a sitter. So this person has taken their posting down. So they've gotten, a half a dozen applications. And now they've looked at it and they figured they're going to talk to some folks. So we're going to talk to them tomorrow at 7, which is kind of late in the day. Maybe they're setting stuff up as they arrive. So they may talk to a few people before they ever even talk to us tomorrow. That sort of makes us not in as good a position as we would like to be in, because they may make their decision. Because a lot of times, if they talk to somebody, or our experience is, if we're the first ones in the door and folks talk to us, usually they'll be, we usually land a house sit, kind of semi-close the deal, and then they'll say, well, I've got a few other people I'm going to talk to, but you all sound, like a good fit if it works for you. So, they may talk to some people tomorrow, and they may decide to go with some folks before they even talk to us, and then it'll just be kind of perfunctory, the conversation that we have with them. But we're in the loop with probably 6 other people. And so we'll see how it is. They seem to like the fact that we have our own car. So that's good. So if any of these other people don't have their own car, then that sort of gives us an edge on them. There's 2 of us, me and Camera Girl. Sometimes folks like a couple over a single person, depending on the size of the place. Sometimes if the house sit is small, they prefer just one person. But we've talked to a number of folks that have booked us for house sits, and they like the idea of a couple, especially if there's some kind of issue. And, you don't want your house sitter to have an emergency and have to leave. So if there's 2 of us, like Camera Girl and I, if we do have some sort of family emergency, just one of us can go and one of us can stay. So that sort of gives us an edge too, if the folks looking for a house sitter view it that way. But we're in the loop, so we'll see. We're going to Zoom these people tomorrow at 7. And Camera Girl has already checked our Zoom settings, made sure that we can access that. We do that every time. Usually, I think this will be the first time we've ever Zoomed in a house sitting interview. Usually we Skype, but we make sure that we can connect to our Skype account and that all our ducks are in a row, so that we're not waiting till the last minute and find that we have some sort of technical problem. But we like it when we get to Zoom with folks beforehand. And oftentimes, if they're Zooming from the house, they'll give us a little tour, which we really like too. But we haven't always done this. Sometimes it's just a back and forth with emails and a phone call, hopefully. But sometimes not even that. I mean, when we booked our house sit in Chile, we never even spoke with the folks. We never even got a tour of the home visually or anything like this. We just booked it straight flat out by email. And we were kind of comfortable with that because they had really great reviews. They had a history of house sitters. We just took the chance and it worked out great. Now these folks here, they don't have any reviews, so we're assuming this is their first time using trusted house sitters. So it's not a deal breaker because these folks don't have any, but the pictures look good. The setting looks good because it'll be up in New England along the coast, which is kind of the opposite of where we're at here. We're kind of far from the coast in the mountains. So that's why it's sort of appealing. Even though it's for a short period of time, it's just 1 month, pretty much the month of October. But that's okay too, because October's right around the corner. It gives us all of September to do some other plans that we have, and some visiting some folks and some things we want to do. So that's it. We're going to see what happens tomorrow at 7 and if we can go on to the next step. But we'll find out then. So we had the Zoom meeting last night and went off without a hitch, 7 o'clock on the dot, thanks to Camera Girl's internet and technical whiz bottery. We were able to Zoom with the folks. We spoke for about 45 minutes. Kind of a pretty surfsy discussion. We didn't really get into too much. They didn't really have a lot of questions for us. We had a couple of questions for them, since it is kind of a retirement community or a enclosed community. I asked about whether we needed any kind of special permits for our cars for parking and how all that would work. Since it is on the coast and it is going to be in storm season, we brought up the possibility of hurricanes, since it will be in October. And they brought up the point that they wanted a house sitter who would be there a day early before the house sit begins, before they leave, so that they could go over the home, show folks around, introduce them to the cat and all that stuff. And that sounded great to us because we like to get to a house sit 1 or sometimes 2 days early. So we would have wanted to do that anyway. That seemed to be the only point that they brought up that we hadn't already gone over in the email. So we had a nice conversation. One thing that we did discover is that these folks are heading out of the country for a month. That's what their trip is. So they're going to be flying internationally. So hopefully with travel restrictions and stuff changing like that, that's not going to be an issue, but we have to be aware that that's a possibility. But it sounded good. I mean, we didn't have any alarms go off in our head. I guess they didn't have any alarms go off in their head because they offered us the house sit at the end of the interview, which really wasn't an interview. We were just gabbing away about just nothing in general, and then just kind of getting a feel for each other. And I guess they felt comfortable enough to offer us the house sit, and we accepted. So right after the end of the Zoom call, they sent us this message here. We enjoyed meeting with you virtually just now and feel very comfortable with both of you staying in our home and taking care of our little kitty. We hope that you would find this cat sit to be a good fit for you as well. We would like to formally offer you this opportunity for the month of October, and we hope that you feel comfortable accepting. Please let us know if you have any questions or concerns. Then they offered us a phone number and said, hope to hear from you soon. Regards. And they signed off. So we answered immediately and said, thanks for taking the extra time on today's Zoom call. It allowed us to have some fun while getting to know one another a bit. No doubt we will enjoy taking care of your cat in your home. And as discussed, we will plan to be in your area at the end of September. We'll let you know when we have made our reservations. Then we can schedule a time to meet and for you to show us around before you leave. And then we leave them our phone number and say, see you in a little over a month. And we signed off. So that was how we left it on Tuesday night. So we had the interview. We exchanged a couple of emails officially saying what we had said in the Zoom call. And then this morning, which is Wednesday morning, I got up and in our inbox, in our trusted house sitters, we had an official offer for the house sit, which is basically you have to click on the dates and the listing to let you know that you are officially accepting the house sit. So we confirmed our acceptance. They confirmed their acceptance of our acceptance. So now the house sit is set. And we are scheduled to do this house sit for the month of October. That's all there was to that. So that was easy peasy. So we saw this listing on Monday morning. And by Monday afternoon, we had already written out our application and sent it in. By late Monday afternoon, we had a response. We had a Zoom call on Tuesday. And now here on Wednesday morning, we clicked the official acceptance for the house sit. So that was smooth. And these folks, they were on the ball. They were boom, boom, boom. You know, every time they would send us something, we would answer back and they would answer right away. So they're very easy to communicate with. So this is ideal. And this is sort of what we have experienced. We have booked some house sits. We've seen some house sits applied and closed it at the end of the day. I think we've had some that have taken as long as a week, maybe not quite that, but we haven't had any house sitting opportunities that we have booked that have taken longer than that. I think we've had a couple that I have applied for where we haven't heard from the folks, or like our applications haven't been read, or they've been read and they haven't gotten back to us, or they don't seem to know exactly what they're going to want to do, so they don't seem to close their account. They don't seem to find a house sitter right away. And so in those circumstances, usually after enough time passes, we will just withdraw ourselves from the application process, because I assume that they don't have their plans solidified. But that was it. That is how we find a house sit, apply for a house sit, and in this case, land the house sit. But sometimes it doesn't go like this. Sometimes we apply and we don't hear from the folks, or it gets booked and we never hear anything at all, or it just disappears, or we don't know what happens, or we get a note back saying that they've already found somebody. In fact, we applied for another house sit today, because once we officially accepted this house sit, we started looking for a house sit kind of in the halfway point. So I found one outside of Washington, D.C. that I applied for, which would have been a week-long house sit kind of towards the end of September. Because we plan on going over to the coast of North Carolina, visiting a friend, and then we will make our way up. We've got folks we can visit in D.C. and in Maryland, which is kind of sort of why we want to kind of head north. And that's why we're looking at these house sits, because we can tie them into our plans to visit some folks. But I applied for a house sit outside of D.C. this morning, and we received a reply later this afternoon thanking us for our application, but saying that they already had an interview lined up with somebody tomorrow, and that if they have a problem with that interview, or if that interview falls through, they will contact us. But I'm not expecting anything from that, because it's, as I said before, you have to do it in a timely fashion, because this house sit that we applied for today had already been up for a couple of days, but it hadn't been closed out yet. It had 4 to 7 applicants, so we went ahead and threw our hat in the ring, but we were a couple of days late to it. So they've already got some folks in the pipeline. They're already got some interviews lined up, so the chances of us even speaking to these folks again are very small. And that's what happens if you're not quick on the draw. I hope this was informative. If you have any more questions about house sitting, or if you want a little more detailed information, I'll have some links down below. It'll take you over to our website at slowpoketravel.com. It'll be to our little house sitting section. And Camera Girl and I have written up a couple little blogs. just with some tips and tricks and just some things that we've kind of figured out doing this now for a few years. But that's it. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We got Patreon links down below. We've got subscription links to all kinds of things. Thanks a lot. We really appreciate you watching and blah, blah, blah. We'll see you in the future.